Okay, now we need to take a look at Adam's equity theory. What it says is people are always exploring whether or not they're treated fairly in different situations. In the workplace, the employee has inputs. The employee has inputs. Maybe it comes with skills, experience, training, education, the appearance, the efforts that they put into the job. And then we have the company who pays for those services and that effort. So the employee puts in the inputs, and then the employee gets outputs from the company. Now keep in mind that it's not just about pay, but it's about benefits. It could be about job security, whatever the person values. Recognition, achievements, being able to participate in decision making, promotions or challenges, trust, and the feel good of working at the place. So it's not all about the money. All of these are factors of pay as well. So what the textbook says, treat people fairly or they will get even. They will be feeding the hog. If an employee senses that they are not treated fairly, they will get even. And as a manager, you get what you deserve. So we need to look at this, and the managers need to constantly be thinking about how the employees perceive the fairness in the workplace. So if they perceive that they aren't treated fairly, here's just a few ideas, and I don't want to put a number, but billions of dollars go to waste because employees don't feel like they're treated fairly. And this could be due to theft, a work slowdown, soldiering, I think, sabotage, abrasiveness with coworkers, poor customer service, feeding the hogs, and the attitude of burn, baby, burn. So, I have three situations here. It's the employee, or you, we'll call it you versus the company. So, what is expected and delivered from the employee, and what do they get out of this experience? What is their pay, which includes all that stuff and more. So, you as an employee, how do you feel? Are you treated fairly? Is it a good deal for you to work at the company? Is there too much stress, low pay, and you try and you work and you do this and you jump through all of the hoops only to get a little bit of pay, no respect, no recognition? What's the situation there? So if it's you versus the company, what's expected and delivered versus the pay or the outputs, and are you treated fairly? That's the question. Now, a key word here is perceived, because some employees always feel like they're mistreated. And it's the manager's job, in the case that the employee should feel like they're fairly treated and they're not, to explain all of the benefits that they get. Because some people just look at the pay and not the big picture of the outcomes of the workplace. So we have you versus the company. Now we also have, and you've all experienced this, you go through it almost daily, you versus your coworkers. Your efforts and result and pay versus your coworkers' effort, results, and pay. What do you put into the job and what do you get out versus what does your coworker put into the job and what do they get out? So if I make $6 an hour and I put in so much effort, and then the other person puts in very little effort, comes in late all the time and is always slacking off, and they get $6, I'm not treated fairly in comparison to the coworkers. So what are my options? Well, I can slow down and actually do all of this stuff to get even and make things so it's a perceived sense of fairness. Now, so we've looked at carefully You are the employee versus the company. You versus the coworkers. Actually, you might have a case where your coworker is working much harder than you are, so you would have to pick up the game in order to have fairness in the workplace. Now we have you or the employee versus equals outside the company. So think about you. Let's say you work at a bank and you're a teller and you have to do all the jobs of a teller and you make $6 an hour. But at the other bank, the other tellers, because you've talked to them, do about the same thing that you do and they make $9 an hour. That wouldn't make you feel very good. You would have a sense of unfairness, being treated unfairly because you're equal outside of the company within the same industry is making more than you are. So we have to look into that too. And I think we're all looking at this on a daily basis. Am I getting paid enough? Recognized all that stuff for my efforts. I'm not. Or what about my coworkers? They always come in late and we get the same pay. That's not fair. Or what about me versus me and another company? They make a lot more. They have a better benefit package. They get recognition and all of that stuff. And I don't get it. So I have a perception of being treated unfairly. So the question is, at this point, do we always want equity, perceived equity for our employees? Do we always want our employees to have a sense of equity, fairness? And the answer is no. We want this to be fair and what we would call positive inequity. Fairness. And then between the you and the coworkers, we want fairness. But when it comes to you and the equals outside of the company, this is a very important. We want positive inequity, which means we want our employees to have the perception that they are treated better than their equals at another company. That's very important. Okay, you go to work, you get paid. Do you feel like you're treated fairly? Okay, good. You and your coworkers, efforts and outcomes, good. We want equity there. But when it comes to you versus people in another company, we want you to have a sense of you're treated better than others. So, there we go. Looking at Adam's equity theory and how people perceive their inputs versus what they get out of a job. Very important stuff. Some people can tolerate being in a situation of unfairness. Some people have no tolerance for being in a situation of unfairness. And some people always feel the need to be in a position of positive inequity. And that's where we get back to the unions from the other class. So, there you go. Are you treated fairly?